back to Python MC. In this section, this is a challenge that with some code that you are going to write to complete this code. And it's all about looking into a huge list of sound files and finding sound files that match a certain string. So it's going to go through this huge web file that includes all the sound files that we're now familiar with from EarSketch. So dubstep drum loop and hip hop, dusty groove, and all these things we've seen before. So to do that, we're going to import a module called URL-lib, which helps you import web files and use them. You don't need to know everything about this module. We're just going to use it in this function called create list from web files. So it's going to take the web file assigned to the variable file data, converts it to a text file, and returns a list of items, one for each line in the file. So it's going to loop through this huge web file one by one by one, and simply takes each sound file name and it's going to add it to this thing called new list by first decoding it from UTF-8, which is this standard for documents. It's going to turn that into text, and then it's going to remove the white spaces through the .strip method, and then it's going to add each line in the file to new list, and then it's going to return new list. So then we are going to, once we run that code, it's going to be assigned to the variable imported beats. So, we can assign functions to a variable because we're returning that value. That new list will now be the value, imported beats will be the variable name for that new list. So let's just look at the first 200 lines in this list, the first 200 items. You can see it has all these names of all these sound files from EarSketch in this huge list, and they're all captured as strings, which means we can use string methods to search and sort them and things like that. So we have this thing called sound search, and this is your first challenge. Line 29, you need to replace those question marks with code based on this doc string. So you notice you have this little bit of text between these three quotes, and that is a doc string. It gives you information, kind of like a story. It's a sort of a better way to do comments at the beginning of a function. It's sort of the standard way. So we're introducing that now. So you're going to use the input function, the variable query, and return the value of query and convert it to uppercase. So osclap in lowercase should be returned as osclap uppercase. So all you have to do is you take this input, and the prompt is input the partial name of the sound file to find files with a similar name. So it's a normal input function. Whatever the user types in will be assigned to query. And your job is to use the dot syntax for string methods and go query dot and then some sort of string method. Now this next function also has a doc string, but you can see it goes through some more detail here. It says takes a partial beat name and a beat list, and it takes a string, which is a partial beat name like osclap, and this list, which is this huge list of sound files, and it takes the string's partial name, which is a partial name of the sound file, and returns a list of sound files that start with the same name. So osclap uppercase now, because it's already been converted to uppercase using the sound search method. It's going to loop through this entire list until it finds the files that start with osclap, and technosyn is going to take this huge list of imported beats, and it's going to find the ones that start with technosyn. Okay, and then so for beat and beat list, if check similar beat, which is another function we'll show you later, if the beat starts with the partial beat name, then append the matching beat lists with that beat. So it's simply going to go through one by one, going to go through this huge list of beats, and it's going to compare that partial beat name, in this case osclap, os_clap. It's going to say, does each beat go one by one? Does dubstep, bass, wobble start with osclap? And then eventually it's going to find osclap 1, 2, 3, 4 starts with osclap, and it's going to add it to a list. Okay, so let's check out this next function. Check similar beat. This is a helper function that you need to complete. It takes a string and a string as its two parameters, and will return a boolean, which is a true or false. So it will return true if the string beat starts with the same character as the string partial name. This is the helper function that we'll feed into the previous function. And hint, there's a string method to find a string that starts with a string of characters. We haven't seen it yet, but you can look it up to find a string that starts with a string of characters in Python. Google it if you want. So what it's going to do is it's going to check whether does osclap01 start with osclap, and it will return true if it does. Does house main beat start with osclap? No, that's a false. Does house main beat start with house? Yes, that's true. And so all you need to do now, this helper function, which will be really important for the previous function, because it's going to be like that check similar beat is a helper function that it's going to use inside another function. And you simply need to replace those question marks on line 65 with the right string method, and it's going to be a beat, in this case, dot, and then some string method using the partial beat name as that string method's argument. So it's a hint, there's a string method to find another string that starts with a string of characters. That's your hint. I'm not giving you the answer, but it's a pretty good hint. And then down here, we're just going to uncomment this code. And then, so it'll then run these three functions together because it's calling get similar beats. Now notice there's sound search as an argument. So you can pass a function as an argument for another function, because functions are objects. They can be assigned to variables. They can be passed to other functions. So there's different ways you can use functions. This is one way to do it. In this case, we're going to get similar beats. When we pass it partial beat name, we're actually passing it sound search, because when that's executed, then the query pops up to say, hey, which beat are you searching for? What's the partial beat name that you're searching for? So that will return the query in uppercase, and then that will be fed into get similar beats. So osclap on lowercase will be now uppercase osclap, and it'll be passed to the partial beat name as the partial beat name argument in get similar beats. And the beat list is, of course, this huge list of beats. So then it can loop through it and compare osclap. All right, so that's it. We've walked you through the code. You just need to now replace the items in here that have question marks. You just replace that with using the docstring to find the right response. That's it. Good luck with the challenge. We'll see you again on Python MC. Python MC.